Good morning and welcome to the show. For 1.95 million students, a WAEC result is not just a grade. It can determine whether university admission goes ahead or a young person's plans are put on hold. Now, WAEC says 61.54% of candidates who sat the 2026 Computer-Based WAEC or WASSCE secured at least 5 credits, including English and mathematics. But questions are now being raised about some of those results, and this is not happening in a vacuum. Last year, WAEC discovered technical problems in the processing of its 2025 results and had to withdraw and review results after release. The difference between the initial and corrected performance figures was enormous. Now, an education advocacy group wants WAEC to preserve the electronic records behind this year's examination and allow an independent verification of the system. So what exactly could have gone wrong and what evidence would prove that it did?
All right.
Okay, so this is a conversation that should interest parents, especially if you have wards who are involved or who were involved in the WAEC examination. So we need to establish timelines. On the 5th of August, WAEC released the results of the 2026 computer-based WASSCE. And out of 1,950,726 candidates who sat the exam, 1,200,514, or, if you prefer, 61.5% obtained credits in at least 5 subjects, including English and math. WAEC also withheld 167,486 results over alleged examination malpractice, which totals about 8.5% of candidates. That figure is even lower than the 9.7% that was withheld last year in 2025. But almost immediately, concerns began emerging from candidates, parents, and schools about results. They say they don't reflect the expected performance. Concerns about unexpectedly low results and possible technical problems have followed. WAEC, in the meantime, has defended the integrity of the exam and its processes. Now the issue has moved from social media to more formal channels demanding for answers.
All right. On August 14, the Initiative for School Excellence and Education Foundation, through its lawyers, formally wrote to WAEC demanding the preservation of examination records, access to candidates' electronic examination data, a mechanism for affected candidates to challenge their results, and an independent verification of the technology and processes used to generate the results. The organization says it is not claiming that every result is wrong. Its argument is that the scale and nature of the complaints justify an objective review before results are considered beyond meaningful challenge. WAEC has been given 14 days to respond, meaning the deadline is August 28th, and that's roughly in 10 days' time. So what exactly is being challenged? What evidence is available, and what would, a credible independent review actually look like? So joining us this morning is Alex Onya, CEO of Educare and Education Reform Advocate. Alex, thank you very much for joining us on Jasiri again.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
Yes.
All right, Alex, let's establish the facts first. What specific complaints have you received from candidates and schools that convinced you that this goes beyond individual students simply being unhappy with their grades? And what have candidates reported to you, and how many cases have you been able to examine independently?
Okay, I've actually examined issues in thousands, actually. And you will see schools, where the pattern started, when I started noticing something abnormal is, you see a lot of valedictorians in different schools, the best in this, and you are getting like a D in maths or like a D in English. And you see that, in large numbers. Somebody scored an A in government and the person is scoring like a D in civic education. So you notice that the patterns are completely abnormal. So when I started getting a lot of these reports, people had to start reaching out to me, one, because of my organization, and secondly, because of the past experience with the JAMB issues, right? So when I started noticing the pattern, I knew exactly something is wrong. I started going deeply, started engaging people inside WAEC. Let me know exactly what is the issue. I mean, of course, everybody pledged anonymity though, but I started realizing that there were major issues. One of the first issues that they said is this year recorded abnormally the best result ever in the history of WAEC. That like 1.7 million people passed English and maths. So normally in WAEC, from what information I got from internals there's no such thing as an A or B or C. Every score point that gets you an A is determined by the national average. So if the performance for this year is so high, an A can be a 90. If it's so low, an A can even be a 50. The same thing with B1, B2, B3. So they are actually irregular. So one of the things that happened is, secondly, last year, they wrote exam up to 9 p.m. And because they didn't want that thing to repeat itself, they released both the morning and the afternoon results, for the paper-based in the morning, meaning that some of these invigilators started selling this. So the fraud was also very, very high. And even in a lot of centers, the sheets were not even complete. You see like 4 or 5 people using one question sheet. So these were a lot of the issues. So at the end of the day, the results was reflecting high performance, unusually high performance, which they don't want to appear that there's fraud. So what they had started doing during their normalization, right? They started shooting down everyone. Remember, some people wrote the CBE. The accuracy of the CBE is a lot higher. So let's say a child did well and scored 70. Unfortunately, 70 can earn you a D or even a C. Depends on how they do it internally. So these were like the discrepancies. And even the CBE, like for civic education, the code for marking was completely wrong. That's why a lot of children failed. So these are the information I've been getting and a lot of evidences I've been gathering within their internal system. And the sad thing is that as a staff, if you ever say it, they will query you or they will fire you. A lot of people have been fired since October 2023 till today. So these actually are the issues. So what we are demanding is very simple. The students need to actually, not this time around, no more even about the CBE, even the people that wrote on paper-based. They need to see what they wrote and they need to see how they failed it. And they will even transparently need to know the basis of your grading. How did you determine who gets an A, who gets a B? So all these things needs to be very transparent so that the public will know. If a child genuinely failed, let the child know that, okay, I failed. I will work hard for next year. But not that I put in all effort. Somebody that got a perfect score in SAT, best in the whole Africa IGCSE, and in WAEC, you are getting a B3 in maths. And you won the best in maths in the whole world.
Yeah. Okay.
Then in WAEC, you are getting a B3. It's not practicable.
All right, Alex. We know that for the past couple of years, there's been a lot of, discrepancies in WAEC. All sorts of things have happened, and they've come out at one time to agree that something happened. But in this particular case, WAEC has defended its credibility of the results. So what evidence do you have currently that warrants that you are sure can actually trigger an independent verification?
I have a lot of evidences. I have a lot of reports. I even have a lot of petitions, even against the current Dr. Amos Dangote, even his internal operations. The people inside the ICT, both the people that have left and the people that are still there, have gotten a lot of information. Many of them I can't share because of this sensitivity of their work, right? So that's why we're saying, show the students what they wrote. If they are wrong, right, let them see it. So these are the things that these are the things that actually firms up my beliefs and everything I'm saying here. So the WAEC currently is being run like a one-man business, which is quite unfortunate. I mean, the current head is planning to go to Ghana. I think probably he may be even the head of WAEC West Africa. So the interest is to move to Ghana, but we cannot keep toiling with the future of our children. No. And that is why this review, because they failed last year, and they don't want to appear as if they want to fail again this year. So because of the pride, they are trying to defend themselves. But the students need to know, a lot of schools are currently being completely embarrassed. Imagine a school that have had the reputation of excellent results over the years, all of a sudden, nobody even got anything meaningful. And this happens in a lot, and even schools can't even say, because as a school, once you raise your head up, then they will automatically victimize you. That's why we have to set up a separate organization to be able to challenge this cause.
Okay, Alex, understandably, your August 14 letter, makes a very important distinction. You're not saying that every result is erroneous. So what would an independent review need to establish before anyone could legitimately say that there was a systemic problem?
Good. So, just like the way we did in the last year exam, normally what you do is that you come and do what they call random sampling. When somebody raises an accusation, right, a claim, let's do random sampling, right? A lot of people bring in their results, right? And once we bring in their results, let's verify those ones. You can just do like a sample of 100 that we are disputing. By the time we do that 100 and we review it and we notice that obviously there's something wrong, then that alone can prompt the review of the rest. So we can do a proper random sampling of 100, which of course the cost is very minimal, right? And then with that, if we can verify that these hundreds that we are claiming are actually wrong and everybody can see it, then let's now use it as a base to be able to correct a lot of ones that have issues.
All right, Alex, you specifically asked for some specific things from WAEC. You asked them to preserve the candidates' response databases, examination session records, system audit trails, server and application logs, scoring databases, and technical incident reports. What are you hoping these records would reveal?
Yeah, during the independent review, we're definitely going to need them, right? So we'll need a lot of these data sets. So why we're saying it is that don't go and delete it or manipulate it, right? So that by the time we need it, we can now use it to be able to conclude our reviews. That's why we actually have to inform them ahead. They shouldn't tamper with it.
All right. Are we going to go on a break? All right, we'll take a quick break. By the time we return, we'll still ask more questions about this WAEC issue that we're discussing on Jasiri this morning. Do stay with us.
Welcome back to Jasiri. At the heart of today's controversy is a simple question. If an examination is computer-based, how does a candidate prove that a computer recorded, scored, and processed their answers correctly? We're still talking to Alex Onya. He is the CEO of EduCare. Alex, thank you for staying with us during the break. So straight into this, your letter to WAEC asks the council to preserve response databases, exam session records, audit trail, server and application logs, all of those things, and all of those relevant records. So let's take this beyond the headlines. If a candidate says, this is not the result I expected, what should the first step be? And what evidence should that candidate be able to access?
Okay, so I'll give you two types of candidates, right? And this is one of the reasons why I'm actually speaking for the other type of candidates. There are candidates from privileged backgrounds, right? Yeah. Whereby they are concerned about their results. They can write to WAEC through their school or directly, right? Which, of course, it takes quite some process. For WAEC to review any of your papers, WAEC would demand you to pay $10,000, and it's clearly stated non-refundable, right? So by the time you do it, if you can be lucky, they review it positively. You can be lucky, they can be unlucky, they may not even review it at all. That is actually the process. And this has to happen for the probably 1.7 or 1.9 million people who wrote WAEC. Then there's a different kind of candidates who came from a completely non-privileged background, who probably either the state government or somebody paid for their WAEC. And those ones are in numbers, probably more than almost 1 million. And then when you see such people, right, and these kind of issues happen, they are helpless. There's nothing they can do. And WAEC is something you take along for the rest of your life. It doesn't expire. And it determines a lot, whether you're getting a scholarship, whether you're getting into the university, whether you are going abroad. Almost every single thing that happens in your life is determined by that WAEC result. So having a good grade in WAEC is too critical for you, for every single child that is writing. So in such situations, many of them are not even aware. And even if some of them are aware, where would they get the 10,000 naira from? Why somebody paid for, the state paid for your WAEC, Like Lagos State, I think the Lagos State is part of the state that pays for almost all their students' WAEC for public schools. And there's an issue with them. How can that child who can't even afford to pay for WAEC exam at first afford the 10,000 to dispute one subject and you wrote 9 subjects? Where will you get the 90,000 from? So these are a lot of the issues. So while I'm looking at the pattern, I'm not trying to address one person. We're trying to say, give every single child that privilege. Give them that privilege without overburdening them, because it is clear that there is an issue. Let's use random sampling, and if we have now fully identified that these issues are there, rectify it. But the truth of the matter is that WAEC is fully aware of this issue, right, from reliable sources. They are fully aware of this issue. We've even presented this issue now in the table of the Honorable Minister. The point is that do the needful. Don't try to hold on to the destinies of these children because of your pride.
There is a particular number that is worth remembering. In 2025, only 38.32% initially met the 5 credits benchmark. WAEC subsequently discovered technical bugs in the results processing system, withdrew access to the results, and corrected them. The final figure rose to 62.96%. And now the Initiative for School Excellence and Education Foundation formally wrote to WAEC. This letter also asked WAEC to disclose information about any significant technical incidents during the examination that was done to determine whether those incidents affected candidates' results. So should WAEC publish a technical post-mortem of this 2026 examination, and who should independently audit the technology behind a national examination? You know, like WAEC itself, an external technical auditor, education experts, government, or are we looking at a combination of all these kinds of people?
In the case of JAM, my organization volunteered to do that at no cost to anybody, right? And when we finished everything, we came up with very excellent results. We did the reassessment, they did the whole exam again, and everybody was happy. And since then, the system has been very smooth. I mean, if you see this last JAM was excellent. Results came within 24 hours. Everything was very smooth. And I'm sure with the new leadership of JAM, things are going to be a lot better. Now, we can also volunteer to do that for WAEC at no cost to them, right? No cost for any reason. We're going to do the independent review. We're going to point out the errors. We're also going to make it public for the country. We're also going to give them recommendations of next steps to avoid these gaps. So we can do it for them too, and they can also appoint other people if they wish. There are other big organizations if they wish to pay. I know that we don't do money when it has to do with the public system, so that we can support them. So if we can be able to fix it, for me, I'm interested in the system being fixed. I'm interested in the society, because WAEC will outlive anybody, right? So if we get it right now, the people that are coming this year, next year, and subsequent years, they will always benefit from the effort that we are putting into them.
All right. Now, it has actually come to our report, Alex, that some schools are now comparing students' WAEC results and with their previous academic records and strong JAM performances, and also saying that the results do not make sense. So is it possible for a disparity between WAEC and JAM performance by itself establish that something went wrong?
Yes, that also is a very big case. I mean, you can see somebody score like 329 in JAM, and maybe maths in JAM, you already got like maybe 90-something in maths. And then in WAEC, you are getting like a C6 or even a D. These things are abnormal. So we see a lot of these disparities, and that is why, rather than trying to fix it one after the other, make the system open. Let's just solve this generally, because we are dealing with schools who could actually identify gaps. There are a lot of schools who can't even identify gaps because they are poorly funded, who don't even have the resources to try to identify the gaps. And these are the people I'm more interested in, because they are in the number. All of a sudden, you see that they are not going to school anymore. Then we're complaining of out-of-school children or low interest in school, because this is where it starts. I put in all my effort. I studied for years, for the past 6 years, preparing for one exam. And I finished the exam and I wrote well all of a sudden. And I knew I wrote very well. and I'm getting like a D. Why should I be encouraged to try again? When after 6 years, I couldn't even get a C and I got a D, and you want me to try again, I'll just look for something else. And you will see those people in thousands. Then tomorrow you complain. So we identify these things from foundation. That is why we're trying to fix it.
If an independent review finds that a candidate was wrongly graded, what should the remedy be? Are you thinking of a corrected result, or are we going to rescore, or a remedial examination, or potentially something broader? What would you be recommending?
So there are it depends on what the public wants at this time, right? If it requires us to rewrite the WAEC, that would not be a bad idea. If it requires them to reassess, if the assessment and everything is okay, and it's probably maybe the algorithm or how they used for the assessment, they can redo it. Even the grading and also the normalization, they can change it and then make sure that everything is normal for people. So it just all depends on the approach. But the most important thing is let's even let everybody agree, right? From us, from the public and them inside of the WAEC, let them fully agree that there is an issue that must be fixed because we are dealing with the destinies of the children. Right? If we get to the point through maybe independent verification that everybody have agreed, then it makes it easy for everybody to now figure out a pathway to fix.
Right now, Alex, so far you've actually been raised, you know, the evidence being requested and what an independent review could potentially establish. But now the question is, what happens next? Alex, WAEC has 10 days left to actually respond. What exactly are you looking forward to from WAEC before the deadline?
If they respond and if they fix these things before our deadline, right, then of course we won't go ahead with litigation. But if nothing happens, we will go ahead with litigation and we'll get to the end of it because we'll never let it happen. And we don't want it to happen ever again.
So, Alex, what would a satisfactory response look like to you? Is it simply access to the records and independent verification, or are there specific commitments that you want WAEC to make?
The first thing is this: WAEC needs to first of all establish that there is a problem, either after the review or before the review. If they establish there is a problem, then we need to now solve the problem. And once the problem is solved, the students at scale, you understand, will know. I mean, they will definitely confirm that these issues have been solved. That is if they want to solve it. If that is solved, beautiful. That is all the satisfaction I want. If they need to rewrite the exam, that also is also very important. I know that it's going to cause a lot of logistics challenge. I mean, no amount of money is too important for the destiny of a single child. So if it requires us to spend it, we just have to spend it to ensure that every single child's destiny is not altered by some few people's error. That is all that matters to me.
All right, Alex, I hear you. In fact, we hear you at the table. We really do. But if WAEC agrees to preserve the records and engage with your demands, what are the next steps? Who should sit at the table, and how quickly should that independent review begin?
If you want, they want this to happen today, it can even happen today. I'll assemble my team. I have a large team, highly experienced, right? I can assemble them to. They already have a model, so we can use that model to do the review. If they want us at no cost to them, the most important thing for us is to get it right in this country.
But then, if WAEC does not respond meaningfully, let's say by the deadline, that's August 28th, your letter did indicate that, you know, legal action would follow. So tell us, if you could tell us in details, what would be your next step? And if it does end up in court, what exactly would you be asking the court, you know, to compel WAEC to do?
You know, I may not be able to share such details, right? But the most important thing is that we are going to proceed with litigation and we are going to get to the end of it. But one thing that we are sure that must actually happen is that justice must be served for these children. That's the end of the goal.
Oh, very commendable, Alex. So let's look at the end of all this, that if everything has come to fruition, what would success look like for you? Is it proving that something did go wrong? Or is it simply getting to the point where students, parents, and the public can have confidence that the results are accurate?
Both of them actually works for me. If the parents, students get to the point of confidence that these results are now accurate, that is success for me. But at the end of the whole day, what we need to now establish is bringing back integrity, right, in our national assessment systems, because this is how we can fix this country. I've always said this, and I've always said it again. If the integrity of WAEC can be upheld as high as that of JAMB, trust me, we can end corruption within 10 years.
Okay, so
Because
Alex,
the corruption you see today started, most of them starts from WAEC.
Okay, so before we let you go, Alexander, I'm thinking WAEC has just concluded this year's examination processes, and in fact, the results are out, as you say. So looking at WAEC 2027, what are the things that you would recommend we look out for? You know, as parents, there's always a parent who has a child in that level of education that's preparing to write that. Now we're talking about WAEC. I don't think really to the common man on the streets that WAEC and NECO are any different. Now, NECO, the NECO exams have been written, and then in about a few weeks' time, NECO results will probably be out as well. What are the things that we should look forward to and try to be watchful about for next year's WAEC 2027 exam?
One of the things I expect to happen from next year is, one is that the process needs to be significantly improved. Whether they are still going to combine paper-based with CBE, right? That's not an issue. The paper system has to be significantly improved. The situation whereby you have to release the morning and afternoon papers in the morning, those things should never happen, right? We need to see how we can be able to significantly cut down malpractice. Then also the CPE also has to be improved significantly so that we can increase the integrity. If you can be able to increase the integrity of the exam and minimize or eliminate glitches, that would be awesome. In terms of NECO, I haven't really looked at NECO, but by the time we are done with WAEC, NECO is another angle. NECO and GCE is another angle that we really need to look at. I want to see that if we can be able to establish integrity in all our national examination systems, then it becomes easy for us to start chunking out the quality workforce that I'm dreaming of for the country.
All right. Well, a big thank you, to our guest, Alex Onya, CEO of Educare and Education Reform Advocate, for joining us. Now, at the heart of this conversation are, students whose next steps depend on these results. The questions have been raised, WAEC has defended its process, and now there's a formal demand for the records and verification needed to establish the facts. What happens next will definitely be important, because when an examination result can determine a young person's future, confidence cannot be built on assumptions. It has to be built on evidence. So we'll take a quick breather. When we come back, we have more conversations on Jasiri. Stay with us.
Thank you very much for staying with us on Jasiri today. Yesterday, we couldn't, take News Central's Mono Balagbobo for more updates on the reports, but he joins us now from the hospital in Felele, Lokoja, where Barida Irewa is currently receiving treatment after her own husband, 43-year-old clergyman identified as Jacob Irewa, set her ablaze after a domestic dispute. Good morning, Mono. Good
morning to you.
Yes. What do you know as at this point about what happened, the condition of the victim and the status quo of the suspect? Can you just give us a quick update on all?
All right. First, I must tell you that, of course, I'm live at Holy Gold Hospital here. It's a private hospital in Lokoja. Just beside me, you can see Mrs. Berida. She's still trying to get her rest, but I'm sure we'll hopefully be able to speak with her and, get to talk to her. When I came in this morning, the nurses I've been speaking with said she has not really had time to rest, because a lot of people have been coming to greet her, to just see how she's doing. And it's been really, really heart-wrenching for a lot of persons who have been reacting all across the state capital here in Lokoja. But I would love to see if we can speak to her right away. Mommy Berida, good morning, ma. I can see that you are feeling a lot much more better. Can you talk to us quickly on how you're feeling? Oh, we thank God for that. I don't know if you could hear her speak, but Mrs. Verida says she's feeling much more better. And she's told us just now that when she came in, she was in a lot of pain, but right now she's feeling a lot much better. Her words are struggling to come out, probably because of the pains. But we have her sister who is with us in her ward here in the hospital. Good morning, ma. Good morning. Can you stand up so that we can have a look into the camera and talk with you? So how has your family been processing coming to terms with what has happened so far?
Just thank God she's alive. She's alive. And we thank God God is helping us also. She's recovering better.
So have the authorities been here to come see her? Anybody from any government agency in the state?
No. No.
All right. So have you heard from the husband? We were told he's in custody. What can you tell us about him?
Okay. What's happened, Sharon? Well, we are going to say that everything is in control. Our uncle, our daddy, also, even the mother-in-law, all the siblings, they were here also doing greatly, and also they are still pleading. Let me say that.
So what can you tell us about her present condition? If likely she's going to be discharged very soon?
Very soon, I believe. And I think by Wednesday or Thursday.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so I believe that that's the most that we can take right here from the hospital. She's really quite weak, so we can't really get her to say much, but I'm just thinking that she's feeling better. She was able to, go to the restroom just before I entered into her room, and she's just lying down here after, easing herself just moments ago.
Okay, Mono, I would really just like to ask you if what the official report is, and if police has confirmed the exact cause or nature of the incident, and is the suspect in custody? We heard when you spoke to the sister of the victim's mom, and she was saying that, the family has been begging. Can you enlighten us on that?
Absolutely. So from the recounts that she gave, that was the day before yesterday, she talked about the fact that, there was a little disagreement, which stemmed from her actually burning some old clothes of her husband, which she felt, the husband should not wear again, probably because they were worn out. So this was probably something that happened a while ago. And then when the husband asked her for the clothes, she told the husband that she had, burnt them because she felt they were not worthy for him to, wear again. So that was where he got angry. So in fact, when he got angry, she had to run out of the house. So she ran out of the house when she saw that the husband was very, very angry. And then she later realized that she put food on fire. So it was when she went back into the house to check on the food, that was where things got rough, and then he got fuel from his motorbike and then poured it on her and lit her on fire. That was the tragic incident of how it all happened and how she has found herself here at the hospital.
All right, Mono, I'm actually very curious because, I saw, aside from our platform, I actually saw how the husband kept pleading, yesterday on so many other platforms. And I'm curious to ask, is this the first time that this has happened, or has it been like a progression and this is like the worst case?
Well, from the husband's accounts, he talked about the fact that they've been married for 4 years. He has never laid hands on her. You know, this was something that he truly, truly regrets. You know, when journalists were talking to him, he was crying, he was in tears. He said he didn't know what came upon him, and he's just praying to God that his wife will be fine, and that, you know, by the time investigations would have been concluded, he's hoping that God will help him so that he can get back to meet with his wife and they can continue as a family.
Mono, I just want to know, I don't know if you have been able to talk to maybe the family. There's some of the family of the wife. Are they open? Are they going to press charges? Because it's a different thing for us all to be, you know, get into the issue. But what is the stand of the family? Are they going to continue to follow through with just for justice, or they are just going to allow this to be settled, you know, among family? Yes, because he's a clergyman.
I think let me allow her sister to speak. Mark, can you please rise up? So we want to know, moving past all of this, you know, the deed has happened. So we would love to know the response of the family if you will be pressing charges.
But I would say our family is not troublesome person. I would believe everything went well, we go on well. The only thing now we can say, okay, maybe for a long time, let them be, but later everything will be going well. And then it's commission passing by that. She's late. That is Irewa. I want to tell everybody that she's alive, she's not dead.
Thank you very much. So you heard it from the sister addressing rumors that she has passed away. She's alive, of course. She spoke to us just moments ago. And they are looking optimistic that they could get back together. Mind you, you know, this is a Christian family. This is a family that loves God. So hopefully, as the scripture teaches, I mean, it's all positive, you know. We're not looking at any form of tension here. I think from what the sister has said, they are hoping to move forward peacefully, but it will take some time, just like she said, or perhaps some time to really, really make sense of the whole situation. And hopefully the person who assaulted his wife will definitely get to prove that he's able, moving forward, to not harm his wife again.
All right, thank you very much, Mono, for bringing us this report. We're hoping to hear more. If there are any other new development that come, please do let us know. Thank you very much.
I will. Thank you.
Well, goodbye.
What did I just say?
The way she said goodbye. I saw how your mouth
goodbye. You know, I specifically asked that question because of the way the sister kept saying, we're glad she's alive. And she eventually would say, when all this is over.
Well, did I hear her say, we'll let them be?
You know, did you hear that?
Get back together. And Mono articulated it very well with a soft smile on his face and saying that you know, they're all Christians. And
but this is the same thing we're saying
yesterday. Was what we said yesterday.
It's either they allow the church handle it or they allow the families handle it. Because looking at it now, she is alone with her sister in the hospital. I'm not seeing family members of the husband coming and rallying around and, you know, supporting her and all that. She's alone. We understand.
Due to the fact that they are always around. Maybe they're just
we're not really.
He said that. Yes, he did say that.
Because we understand that the husband is in custody. So will she go ahead and press charges? That was the question you asked yesterday. You asked yesterday. She will not. She will not. What?
Didn't you see from the moment Mono took the phone, the
mic to the sister, we will let them be. It's a family issue.
I knew. And that's why you ask yourself, sometimes this job that we do is difficult. Why do you involve us and involve the sentiments of people who are progressive in nature, progressive in thinking, and get us involved in such a way that the people that you're fighting for ultimately just go back to the mud pit where they came from. Look, she's alive now, but who knows whether she's going to recover well or in the next 3 weeks and they beg and beg, what will happen is that they're going to beg and they're going to release the guy, and he's going to go and he's going to pummel her again.
No, it's
what's
not
to say that the second time or the next time he pummels her, she will make it.
He will not be pummeling her. It's the devil
He
that will
burnt
be.
her.
No, he said the devil.
And you say that
he
they're
said it
going
was
to
the
go back.
devil.
Maybe not now, they're going to
said
go
it
back.
will not be him pummeling.
It's the
like,
devil because he said it was the devil that's through
That's
him.
after all, they're Christian.
You know, this is the challenge I have with religious institutions. A man that acted this violently over an issue that is so tiny, he had the presence of mind to go to his motorbike, take fuel, pour it on her, and set her ablaze.
Premeditated. He knew
what
what he
else?
was doing.
Shouldn't this woman be run straight from this hospital? She should be running away.
You know, poverty...
And they don't have children together, so it makes it a clean break.
It's not, because it's what they know. You will see somebody like that will say, oh, how we grew up. Our mothers, our grandmothers believe in marriage, you know, and let's honor the word. They're going to even support it. The craziest.
I don't know about you guys. I really don't know about you guys, but I don't think this is the first time that this has actually happened. They said this is the first time. Because we've heard cases, so many cases of the woman being pregnant and the men beating them until they lose the child. This doesn't look like it's the first time, because for you to get to a point where you want to set your wife ablaze and kill her,
then your family members are saying, no, for now, you leave them.
It must have been a progression. You understand? And then you have the church saying he's your husband. If you leave him, where would you go to? Who will marry you? You're second hand.
And then you have bands.
Stay with him.
Would you not rather be alive than be in a marriage that you are dead in? So what is the point?
I mean,
people see how tongue-tied we are. Catherine,
especially, I'm sure there's someone in her ears now saying, now your body has spoiled. No man will find you attractive. So you have to stay with your man, with your husband. Meanwhile, the same husband will be going out to look for other girls that are fine and have smoother skins.
Abuse her, emotional abuse her, everything. These are the kinds of people that will still take the mic and stand on the pulpit and call in the name of God. Let's call it what it is.
It's like if we will now come and tell me, how do they want to reconcile?
Because he has been begging and he has been crying. Once there's no accountability,
I'm not saying you should not cry.
Justice,
from that hospital, Catherine, I don't pack my load. Find another.
Now you be that now. They will use the Bible and say the Bible says your husband is the head of the home. He's your God.
Or don't put asunder in anything.
No, he's your God. So that's no matter what happens, you need to take it and treat him with as much respect as you've always been doing.
Somebody that poured you petrol and put fire.
And it was not like...
So if she had died, is that the same thing? We'll be talking about murder.
No.
This one would have been calling everybody callable now. And the church leadership will be meeting and say, he was overcome by the devil, a possession happened.
And let us lead a delegation to the house to pray for him.
When they pray,
the house.
You're healed.
Yeah, and then when they go back, you say, my wife, sorry, for the first 7 days. Then after then, what? The devil will take over your body.
Because everything somebody that you set ablaze, when you look at her, that same demon that came upon you, not say, hit her head
you are now.
I have a movie referral for you guys, but then we have to go
No, it's okay.
Guys.
This one is movie enough for me.
Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Come on.